Dr. Steve Pichenik, and this is Steve Talks. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Steve Pichenik. But before I begin my weekly summation of some very good news, actually, I would like you to all subscribe to my channels on YouTube, Steve Pichenik, and just push the bell. That way I can continue to be your correspondent and be able to counteract the MSM. All right, so I thank you very much. Now, let me tell you the good news. Despite all the noise that we've heard this past week about impeachment and Comey and everybody else and Mueller, those things are irrelevant. And President Trump has done a very brilliant thing. He's created some domestic turmoil in order to distract from two very key successful points. The first point is that North Korea has declared they will not go to war with us, and we in turn have declared that we will not go with North Korea to war. And number two, we have avoided a war in Qatar, between Saudi Arabia and Qatar. So it's important for you to understand what I'm about to tell you. Now, let me explain the first part. For a long while, I have said that a war with North Korea can never be won. It would be total mutual assured destruction because the distance between North Korea and Seoul is only 30 miles. And on the North Korean border, there are over 2.2 million soldiers, and we have a tripwire of about 50 to 60,000 American troops ready to fight, but probably would be slaughtered on the onslaught of the North Koreans. What happened is very interesting. In combination with General Mattis, our Secretary of Defense, Rex Tillerson, our Secretary of State, and our Japanese allies, as well as our Australian allies, and more importantly, with the Admiral of CINCPAC, Commander-in-Chief of the Pacific, Admiral Harry Harris, who happens to be Japanese. Now think about what I just said. He is a Japanese-born admiral who is a full American and became an American because his mother's Japanese and his father is an American officer. And this proves that within our military, which took me in, a Cuban, and took others in who are foreigners, once we serve the country, we are full-blooded Americans. And Admiral Harris did a brilliant job of bringing the force structure of CINCPAC right around the Korean Peninsula to show that we're serious about what we intend to do. But again, the kudos go to Trump for having shown President Xi Jinping of China that we were serious, and at the same time, he was able to ameliorate the hostility of Kim Jong-un. The second part of this success is also attributed to Rex Tillerson, Secretary of State, James Mattis, Secretary of Defense, McMaster, General McMaster, General Vodal, and SOCOM. And this particular case with Qatar is a very dangerous example of what could happen if we didn't have our composure, a focus, and a clear strategy. Contrary to what the mainstream media has been saying about Trump, who's impulsive or distracted, doesn't know what he's doing, he's stupid, he has no understanding of foreign policy, they're wrong. What Trump did when he went to Saudi Arabia and to Israel was to explain that we needed to create a counter-pressure to Obama's recognition of Iran. Now, I approved of the recognition of Iran because it was important for our big companies, including Boeing, Northrop Grumman, Halliburton, and others, to get in there and build up the country. However, as a counterforce on the international relations scene, we had to have a counterforce with Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Dubai, Turkey. And what happened in effect is Saudi Arabia imposed an embargo on a little country called Qatar, Q-A-T-A-R. The capital is Doha. It consists of 3,000 Qataris and about 1 million foreign immigrants. Their main export is helium. 30% of that helium goes into our superconductors and very other important machinery. Now, what happened was Saudi Arabia basically created an embargo saying that you will not get any food coming in and you will not export anything out. In the world of international relations, that's causa belli. That means this is cause for a war. And what happened very quickly, although I was a very minor part of it, I suggested that Tillerson and our deep state, that means the intelligence community, the CIA, military intelligence, and the other 16 wonderful organizations were able to coordinate a very effective transition to peace. And what they did in effect was to allow President Erdogan of Turkey, a good ally of ours, to come in, bring in military troops into Qatar in order to protect our two bases. One is a naval base, one is an Air Force base. And at the same time, Rex Tillerson was able to convince Kuwait to come in and act as an intermediary. So what we had there was literally an ongoing fight between the Sunnis and Shiites, but we didn't take sides. And in effect, we were able to work with both sides, the Sunni and the Shiites. And the final comment came out from the Kuwaiti ambassador, who said the following: leave an Arab problem to the Arab countries. We will solve our own problems. And I say, God bless them. This is the first time in 30 years I have heard an Arab representative say that they will handle their own problems. I want to thank all our allies. I want to thank all of our military individuals and intelligence officers, as well as Israel, because they were behind this peaceful effort. Good luck and good night. Hi, this is Dr. Steve Chenik. This is Steve Talks.